Councillor.
So we come to rate setting, which is the natural accompaniment to the long-term plan. If we don't do this, we've voted for something that we can't implement. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Andrew Duncan and Aaron Matic, or is it just you, Andrew? You're all on your own. So this is to set the rates for the next financial year, and I'll ask Councillor Clow to move that. I'll second it, and if you can speak to the paper, please, Andrew.
This paper has the rates resolution, which formally sets the rates that are laid out in the long-term plan that you've just adopted. I'm happy to take any questions.
I like about Andrew, he doesn't mince his words. Right, so questions. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got two questions. My first question is regarding the early payment for rates, and I wonder why there isn't a greater incentive for people to pay their rates early. I noticed that you're asking for it to be set at 0.87. I've got two questions, so that's my first question. And my second question is the early payment discount and late payment of penalties instalment dates are obviously set on equal tranches, but the 31st of August is a Friday, the 28th of November is a Wednesday, the 28th of February is a Thursday, and the 28th of May is a Tuesday. And I wonder if that's confusing for Aucklanders, whether it would be better to have those rates payments days at the end of a week. Why are they all different dates? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
Right. Andrew.
In regards to the early payment discount, we calculate this based off our short-term interest rate, because this means that we pass on to those who pay early exactly the saving they give the council, which, because the payments are in 4 parts, we're only getting some of the money early of the payment. It's not a full year's worth. That's where the 0.87 comes from. If we offered a higher discount, we wouldn't save any money, but it would increase our costs, which would then have to be met by those ratepayers, some of whom might not be able to be in a position to pay early. So we set it in a very specifically, it's exactly what we save, we pass it on.
Okay. All right, and the dates?
The dates, I'm not quite sure exactly why we set the dates on those days.
I was just going to make a suggestion that they all be on a Friday.
I can get you the answer to that, but those dates are the ones that are set out in the plan, I'm pretty sure. So
we've done this before. We've set dates that are uneven. I just thought it would be nice.
It's a good question. We shouldn't change it until we know what the answer to that question is. So perhaps if, Andrew, you can come back to us on that, and we can give future consideration to whether there is a better way of setting those dates. So keeping an open mind on that, Councillor.
They are in the plan that's been adopted, and they're very clearly communicated in our correspondence with ratepayers, so people have, it's very clear to them in the rates notices when they're required to pay.
It's good. Further questions? Councillor Hulse.
Sorry, this feels like a very basic question after the wonderful debate that we've just had, but it's on page 188, and it's the rural sewage targeted rate. We just need to flag in there that rate will disappear. So as we move to away from the rural sewage charge, which I thought we were kind of doing in the next couple of years, do we just need to note in there, or is that not for the purposes of striking the rate?
No, that's not the purpose of this.
That's
However, that was reflected in some of the advice you would have had in adopting the water quality targeted rate as to what some of that expenditure was going to go on, and when we come to do that, those issues will be discussed so that you can make the appropriate decisions.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't speak at the last item, but from the bottom of my Westie heart, thank you for the Western Initiative and for the environmental initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and thank you for your contribution to that. Further questions? I sense a desire to conclude this. Let's see if there's any comments that people would like to make on the rate setting. Can I just say on this, again, we would put the vote as a whole. There's a whole lot of clauses, 24, but if there's something that you want to register your opposition to, ask you to do at the conclusion of the discussion. If there are no comments, I'm going to put the vote as a whole. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. And carried. Carried, I think, that time unanimously. And if there's anything that you wish to differentiate yourself on, please talk to Sandra about that. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our extraordinary meeting of the governing body. Thank you once again for your participation. And this is the conclusion of 7 months of hard work. So too early in the day to have a celebratory drink, but maybe this evening. Thank you very much.